All right, guys, I'm going to go over the function review problems from this week. All right, so the very first problem says, let's slide this in just a little bit, fill in the blanks below, okay? Justify whether or not the mapping shows that this is a function. All right, so this is mapping here. This is set A, this is set B. If you remember, when you're doing a function table, set A is going to be your x values. This is set A. Set B is going to be your y values. This is set B. Remember, your x values are called your input values, your domain. The meaning of it is called independent variable. Okay. Your y values are called output, range values. These are other synonyms. You can say it's f of x, and the meaning of your y is called your dependent variable. Whatever the meaning is, it's called the dependent variable. Like if it's the total amount of money made, your dependent variable is the total amount of money made. So it's the meaning of whatever y is. Okay, so now in order to answer this question, you have to figure out if these ordered pairs that are created by mapping, is it a function or not? If it's a function, that means the x values do not repeat. So let's write out the ordered pairs. I'm going to do that over here. So this first ordered pair is going, there's like a little shadow there. This first ordered pair is going from 3 to 4, okay? From 3 to 4. So my first ordered pair is 3, 4. This next ordered pair is going from 7 to 5. So I got 7 is my x value and 5 is my y value. This is going from -1. The arrow is going to -4. So this is my ordered pair here. And this last ordered pair is 0 to 5. Okay, so I noticed that all of these x values are different. None of them repeat. They're all of them are different. So this is a function. So here you should have, it should say in the first fill in the blank, the mapping diagram above represents a function. So in that first blank, you should put that it represents a function. Since, and the explanation is for each number, that should go in the next blank. Okay. Set A, which is input, it's going to try to trick you because it's going to say set A output. Well, we know set A, again, is the x value, so that's going to be the input. There is only one mapping, okay, to set B, which is the output. And again, it's going to try to trick you because it's going to say set B is input. You need to choose that set B is the output instead of the input. Okay, so that's how you do the very first one. The next type of questions that you are getting in the next section of this assignment is asking you which set of ordered pairs represents a function, okay? So in order to figure out which set represents a function, you got to look at the x values. So look, I usually, underline my x values or write down all my x values. All of these x values are different. So since all of them are different, this is the one that represents a function. So this one is a function. Okay. I look at the x values of the other ones and I notice that, look, 0 repeats twice. So that's why this one is not a function. This is not a function. And I look at the next ones and I notice that these x values repeat. So this one's also not a function. And then I look at the last one and I notice that these x values repeat. -5 repeats as an x value. So this is also not a function. So that's how I identify if it's a function or if it's not a function. If all the x values are different, you're going to say, yes, this is a function. If the x values repeat, you're going to say, no, it's not a function. All right. Now we're looking at lines to determine if the line is a function, okay? So to determine if a line is a function, what you do is you take a vertical line, and I usually take my pencil, but sometimes my pencil is too fat to detect. I don't really have anything that's skinnier. Maybe this pencil is a little bit skinnier, but I move my pencil from left to right across the graph. If the line or the graph loops back around and touches the pencil in more than one place, then it's not a function, okay? It's not a function. If it loops around, if it touches this pencil, see how it's going? The line is only touching the pencil one time as you go through. This is a function. You're going to say, yes, this is a function because as this vertical line is going through, is going from left to right across this graph or line is only touching the pencil, is only going through the pencil one time as it's going through. But if the line or graph loops back around and touches the pencil in more than one location, several locations, or more than one location, then you would say this is not a function. So this passes the vertical line test, which means this is a function. This one is a function. All right. This next one is not a function because look, it fails the vertical line test. Let me show you how it fails it. Slide this up a little bit. As you moving your vertical line across the graph, you notice that this line touches the graph or the line touches your vertical line or your pencil in more than one place. It touches up here and down here. So that means these x values, the ordered pairs that are on this line have some of the same x values. So this is not a function. This one is not a function. Okay. Let's go to the next one. This last one, this one's kind of a little tricky. Well, not the last one, but this one's kind of tricky because it looks as though some of these x values are repeating. But if you zoom in a little bit more with these U shapes, it's going to be all of these points are going to have different x values. So this one is a little tricky. Okay, so anytime you see a U shape that's like um, this is going to be a function because none of these x values are going to repeat, even though it looks like it is right here at the end. But if you zoom in to this picture, you can almost infer or almost see that the points are slightly different. Okay, so when you see a U shape that's like this is going to be a function. None of these x values are going to repeat. And again, this one's a little tricky. Okay, that's a little tricky. Here, this also passes the vertical line test because if I was to zoom in, I would notice that as this line is going up, these x values are going to be different. Are going to be different here as well with these types of graphs. It looks as though, because at first glance, I almost want to say this is not a function. Honestly, I almost want to say it's not. But because of the type of graph that this one is actually a function. None of these x values are repeating it. If you were to zoom in, all of these x values are going to be different here. And again, this is a tricky one. Okay, so this one is a function. These x values, if I was to zoom in, all of these x values would be slightly different, like maybe negative 2.5 and the next one negative 2.53 or whatever the case may be. So this one is tricky. It's very, very tricky. Okay, so this is a function. All right, move this out the way. Okay, this next one here. All right. Given this is the graph this is the not graph, but this is the equation that you're getting. This equation is written in function notation. I'm gonna write this out to the side that f of x is the same as saying y. So another way to write this could be y is equal to negative 2x plus 2. That's another way to write this equation. Here, you have f of x, and it's saying f of 6. So since normally there's an x here, this is just telling you that x is equal to 6 now because they have replaced x with 6. So in order to figure out, find f of 6, that means what is the y value when x is equal to 6? What is f of x or what is y when x is equal to 6? So all you're doing here, when you see problems like this, is just substituting this x value into this equation. So this is f of x, or you can say y is equal to, or you can put 6 here. You can even put 6 here. Is equal to -2. Replace x with 6, so this is times 6 plus 2. Order of operations tells us to do this first. So this is going to be a -12 plus 2. So my answer here is going to be a -10. So my f of 6, when x is equal to 6, your y value is -10. So you're going to put an answer of -10. If they ever want you to write this as an ordered pair, your x value they give you is 6, and your y value is going to be a -10. That's if they ever ask for an ordered pair. All right? But this is the answer that you would type in. Okay? All right. The next one, kind of the same thing here. Okay, again, h of x is the same as f of x, it's just a different letter. Okay, you can use different letters. It's all going to mean that h of x is still going to be considered as y. So you can write this as y is equal to a -2x minus 4. Since this is a negative 2 here in the place of where x is, you can assume, you can infer that x is equal to a -2. So in order, this is saying, what is my y? What is my h of x when my x value is equal to a -2? So what's y when x is -2? So you just substitute. You can put h of -2 here, or you can just put h of x, doesn't matter, as long as you substitute -2 in the place of x. So that's -2 times -2 minus 4. So order of operation means that you are going to multiply -2 times -2 is a positive 4. Then you have minus, write too hard, minus 4. And again, h of x is equal to 0 here. 4 minus 4 is 0. So your h of x or h of -2 is equal to 0. So you would type in the answer 0. If you were to write this as an ordered pair, remember x was given, that's -2, and your y value is 0. But for this case, all they want you to do is type in what the y is equal to, which is going to be 0. You're going to do the same thing for this problem. Again, this is written in function notation. F of x is the same as saying y. So you can write this as y is equal to -x plus 2. That's another way to write this, because f of x is the same as saying y. Here, because you have -1 in the parentheses, f of -1, you can infer, you know, that x is equal to a -1. So this is saying, what is y when x is equal to a -1? So substitute. So I have f of x. I can replace the x with -1, or I can just leave it as f of x. But I need to substitute, bring down the negative sign. I need to replace x with -1. So in the place of this x, I'm going to put -1 here and bring everything else down. Don't forget that there's already a negative that's there. You can't leave that out. So you have a negative times a negative, which is a positive. So this is going to give me a +1 plus 2. So my f of x is equal to 3, or I can say f of -1 is equal to 3. So again, the answer that they want you to type in is 3. If they wanted you to write this as an ordered pair, x they already gave you, which was -1. The y, which you just found out, was 3. So if they wanted you to write it as an ordered pair, this is what you would write. Okay? Now they're asking you again to evaluate this. This looks a little bit different because you have x squared. So I chose this. I chose to show you one that looks like this. So again, I have enough space to write it here. Well, I can write it over here. So again here, I'm going to substitute. Remember that f of x is the same as saying y. So I could write this equation as y is equal to 3x squared minus 3x plus 1. This is another way to write it. This is written in function notation like the other ones because you have f of x, okay? All right, so in order to solve this problem, again, your f of -2 is the same as saying that x is equal to a -2. So to find y, plug in the -2. So this is f of x, or you can put -2 in the place of this x, is equal to 3 times, replace x with -2. You're going to square it, okay? Minus 3 times x again, which is -2 plus 1. So you're going to use, let me make this neater because this looks a little sloppy there. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so now you're going to use order of operations, which tells us to do the exponents first. So this is going to be 3, -2 times -2, because that's what this means. Multiply -2 times itself. So this is going to give you a positive 4, because a negative times a negative is a positive. And bring everything else down. I won't skip steps because, I don't want to make this confusing. All right, so next we're going to multiply from left to right. I can multiply this together, which gives me 12. I can also multiply this together. Negative times a negative is a positive. This gives me a positive 6 plus 1. So here I add from left to right. So we got 6 plus 2 is 8. So this is going to be 18 plus 1 gives me 19. So my answer for y is 19. If they wanted me to write it as an ordered pair, x they already gave me as -2, y you just found as 19. But they just want you to type in the answer 19. Okay? All right. Remember, you can always rewind and watch the video again, okay? All right. So ones that look like this time, they don't give you x. Remember, I told you before, g of x or f of x is the same as saying y. So this is just telling you that now your y value is 9, or your g of x is 9. So replace g of x with 9, or replace y with 9. They all mean the same thing. So we're just going to replace this g of x with what it says g of x is 9. So put 9 in its place and bring everything else down. They want you here to solve for x. So all you're going to do is isolate x, solve for x. So move the -4 by adding 4 to both sides. This side is going to give me 13 is equal to a -x. Remember, to get x by itself, this is a -1 in front. In order to get rid of this -1, you're going to divide both sides by a -1, and that's going to give you -13. So your x value is -13. This is what they want you to write. They want you to type in -13 as your answer. If you were to write this as an ordered pair, again, your x value is -13. The y value they gave you, or the f of x, which is the same thing, the f of x or the y they gave you, which is, or g of x, sorry, y'all. They did g this time. Same thing. They gave you is 9. So if I needed to write that as an ordered pair, then that would be the ordered pair that I would write it as. The next one, I'm going to do the same thing. Remember, h of x, g of x, whatever of x they give you is the same as saying y. So this time they give you y, or h of x, which is 6. So you're going to replace h of x or y with 6. And you're going to solve for x. Okay? So in order to solve for x, you get x by itself, you have to move this -4. So you're going to add 4 to both sides. When you add 4 to both sides, this is going to give you 10. Here, this is gone, and you're left with -2x. To get x completely by itself, this is multiplication. The inverse of multiplication is division. So you're going to divide both sides by -2. And this is going to give you a -5. So your x value is a -5. So you're going to type in -5 as your answer. If they ever ask for the ordered pair, you give them, the x value is -5, and the y value they gave you initially, or remember it was h of x, which is the same thing, is 6. Okay? But they only want the answer -5 here. Okay? All right. Don't forget that you can rewind and watch things again. Here it's saying graph y is equal to, and it's telling you, look, like I've been telling you, that y is the same as f of x. Look, this pencil is tripping now. Let me pause this real quick while I get some lead. All right, good folks. So I'm back with my lead. Y is the same as f of x, just like we have been discussing. And so it says determine the value of x. So you need to figure out what is x when, of course, y or f of x, same thing, when y is equal to a -2. So find -2 on the y-axis. -2 on the y-axis is right here. Okay, so what is y value? What is the x value when y is -2? My x is going to be 0. You see that? This point right here? This point right here is 0, comma, -2. The -2 is y. The x value is 0. So they're looking for you to type in 0. Okay? All right. That one's not hard at all. We're doing the same thing again, okay? It's saying, it's giving you the y value again. It's telling you that y is the same as f of x. F of x is the same as y. So it's giving you the y value. It's saying the y value is 5. So what is the x going to be then when y is 5? So look for 5 on the y-axis. Positive 5 on the y-axis is up here. So the point that has a y value of 5 is this point right here. So this point, when you read the ordered pair, is 2, comma 5. So when the y value is 5, the x value is 2. So what they're looking for you to type in is 2. Okay? They're looking for you to type in 2. Okay? Those are not hard at all. All right, you're going to do the same thing even when there's a line. Okay? They said find the value of f of -9. Again, remember, when you see this, they're giving you the x value. They're telling you that the x value is -9. So then what is y then? That's what they're asking you for. When they give you x, they want to know what y is. So let's find -9 on the x-axis. -9 on the x-axis is right here. So go up to the line. This is the line right here. Okay. What is my y value here? When my x value is -9, what's going to be my y? So let's read it. When I go and read what the y value is, the y value is 2. So that's what they're looking for. They want you to type in 2 as your answer. Because when x is -9 on the line, your y value is 2. All right? You're doing the same thing for this one, f of -8. So they're telling you that x is equal to a -8. So if they give you -8, they want you, or give you x, they want you to find y. So find -8 on the x-axis and go up to the line. This is the line right here. What is this ordered pair? When x is -8, what's your y going to be? So I go over and read what that y is, and that y is 6. So they want you to type in 6 as your answer, okay? They want you to type in 6 as your answer. All right. Okay, so they want you to do the same thing here, only now you see closed and open circles. Anytime you see an open circle, you cannot include that as a part of the answer. So you cannot include that as a part of your answer. So let's see. They said find f of 6. That means they're telling you that x is 6. So you have to find y. You got to know that if they give you x, they want you to find y. Okay, so find 6, positive 6 on the x-axis, which is here, and go up to the line. The line is right here. So since the line is right here, okay, then what is my y value going to be? So go over to the y, and my y is right here in the middle between 4 and 6, which is going to be 5. So the y value that we're looking for is 5. So that is what they want you to write. Okay? Here's your y. All right, let's look at this one. They want you to find y again because they give you f. Remember f of x? They put a number in this place. They put 5 in that place. So that means that x is equal to 5. So find what y would be when x is 5. So go to 5 on the x-axis, which is right here, okay? And then go up to the line. Notice that this line right here is an open circle. So this point is not included. So that means this is going to be undefined. Because it's an open circle there, that means that one value is not included as a part of the answer. So this is going to be undefined. Okay? All right. Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, so now here it's saying functions. We got f of x, which happens to be the graph. Then we got g of x, which happens to be the table. And then we have h of x, which happens to be an equation. So we're comparing a graph, a table to an equation. All right. It says select the options that represent the order of the function according to the average rate of change for the intervals 1, x when x is 1 and x is 6. Okay. So, and you want to put them in order from least to greatest. So in other words, you are going to find the rate of change for each of these, the table, the graph, and the equation, where your x values are from 1 to 6. Okay, and then you're going to put them in order from least to greatest. So your x value for each of these is going to be 1 and 6. 1 and 6. 1 and 6. And you're going to see and once you find the slope for all of these, then you're going to order them from least to greatest and mark the answer here. How do I know I'm using x value of 1 to 6? Because it tells you the intervals for x. They want you to find the rate of change from 1 to 6. So they want you to find the rate of change from when x is 1 to when x is 6 for each of these graphs. So the y value, you use the graph, the table, or the equation to figure out the y value. So to figure out the y value for the graph, you just find where x is 1. So x is 1 right here. And your y value, go to the line. Your y value is negative 6. So you're going to put negative 6 for that one. Then you're going to find positive 6. Positive 6 is right here. And go up to the line. And the y value for positive 6 is going to be 2. Okay? So I'm going to find the slope. I'm going to use the slope formula. Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. Okay? So this is X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Okay? And on the top, I'm going to write 2 minus negative 6. And on the bottom, I'm going to write 6 minus 1. So this gives me plus a positive, which is going to be 8. And this is going to be, what, 5? Okay. All right, make sure I got that right. So we got 1 and then 2 here. Then we got negative, what I put, negative 6, that's right. And then 6 minus 1. Okay, good. So this is that one. All right, so let's do the next one. We have to find the y value. So the y value here is going to be 59. You see how I look for 1 as the x, and the y value is 59. Find 6x, and that's going to be 14. Okay. So you're going to use the slope formula again. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So slope formula again. On the top, we got 14 minus, we got 59, and then we got 6, then we got minus, 6 minus, then we got 1. Okay, so here, I'm going to use my calculator real quick. I got 14 minus 59, which gives me, look, negative 45. And on the bottom, that gives me 5. So, of course, if I do negative 45 divided by 5, everybody knows that's going to give me a negative 5, right? I should have went on and did this as a decimal, shouldn't I? 8 divided by 5, because I got to compare it anyway. This is 1.6. All right. So now we're going to do, this one is a little bit more work. You have to substitute, because you got an equation, you have to substitute 1 in the place of x to figure out what y is. So, okay, so this is going to be x squared minus 9x plus 8. Sorry, y'all. So this is 1 squared minus 9 times 1 plus 8. So this is 1 minus 9 plus 8. So this is going to be negative 8 plus 8, which is 0. So this is 0 here. Okay? And now you got to substitute 6. So this is x2, y2. All right? So when I substitute 6, I get, again, x squared minus 9x plus 8. And I'm just copying it so I eliminate some mistakes, making sure I'm not rushing. I have 6 squared minus 9 times 6 plus 8. So this 6 times 6 is 36 minus the 54 plus 8. Okay? And again, look, make this go by faster. When I say quicker, thicker, upper. Minus 54, then I put plus 8. Okay? And when I type that in, it gives me a negative 10. So I put negative 10 here. Okay? So now I just use my rate of change formula. So this gives me, on the top, negative 10 minus 0, then 6 minus 1. All I'm doing is using the same slope formula, and we've used that a bunch of times. So this is going to give me negative 10 on the top, and this is going to give me 5 on the bottom, so this is negative 2. Okay? So now from least to greatest, the smallest amount is going to be this one. Negative 9 is smaller than the other one. So that's the table, which is g of x. So let me find g of x is first. So let's write g of x is first. Then the next to the smallest is the equation, which is h of x. And the last, of course, is f of x. So we got g of x, that's this one, then h of x, then f of x. So that's going to be this one down here. This is the order here. And I wrote it because you can see that a little bit better. This is the order from least to greatest. Okay? Least to greatest. All right. Okay. And I think, the last one. Okay, good folks. This is a lot easier than you think it is. All you need to do is graph these ordered pairs to see if it forms a straight line. So you would just take and graph each of these and see if it forms a straight line. Whichever one forms a straight line is going to be the answer. And that's how you do that. Just take a piece of graph paper and graph these to see which one is the straight line. And that's it. All right, guys, I hope this helped you tremendously. If you have questions, feel free to text me and ask, okay? All right, guys, have a good one. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Bye.